What's going on, wrestling family? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm sure you guys have heard about this already, but WrestleMania 43 is reportedly going to take place in Saudi Arabia, and we know exactly why this is happening. It is for one reason and one reason only. It is for Saudi Arabia to sign over those 24 karat gold checks with diamond studs around the border, because WWE and TKO, they gotta get their greedy hands on that money. And at this point in time, it seems like the money resides on international soil. So I wouldn't be surprised if WrestleMania 44 took place in the North Pole, right? You got to run Santa for his money. WrestleMania 45 took place in Wakanda. They got that vibranium money. WrestleMania 46 take place in Pandora, because they know if the Na'vi has the money to pay for it, TKO and WWE will find a way to get over there and pick up that bag. But all jokes aside, guys, all jokes aside, I've seen the conversation surrounding this whole situation, and a lot of people are pretty upset and very confused about this. But personally, for me, I feel like if you've been watching WWE, and if you at least paid a little attention to what's been going on with their business model, you could have seen this from a mile away. Once the Endeavor TKO situation happened, I even told my friends years ago that, yo, we gotta go to a couple of these PLEs, bro, because at some point these things are going to start moving overseas. Eventually, they're going to be on international soil, and it may even be to the point where they'll probably want one of our big four, or ultimately, they can go after the biggest prize of them all, a WrestleMania. Now, my friends thought I was crazy, and they were just laughing me out the room, but look at the conversation we're having today. WrestleMania literally is going to be over in Saudi Arabia. And if you didn't hear me say that before, you could have just looked at the reports that's been happening as of lately, right? There has been a report that Saudi Arabia was going to get a diet WrestleMania, right? So there's going to be 2 WrestleManias in the same year. And if you look at next year, look at the schedule. They have 3 events in Saudi Arabia, including a Royal Rumble. They said, we don't even want that Crown Jewel stuff no more. Now, to be fair, we don't know what the other 2 PLEs is, but this year, Crown Jewel is not happening in Saudi Arabia. It's obviously in Perth. And if you want to ask me what my speculation is, I feel like that Saudi Arabia told Triple H, Paul Levesque, hey man, you need to run us a WrestleMania. We getting tired of having the greatest Royal Rumble ever. We're tired of having Crown Jewel, these PLEs that's not even canon, that has nothing to do with the main canon. We want the real deal. We want what happens at our show to matter. So you got to give us a WrestleMania. And maybe Triple H and TKO and Nick Khan and friends, they were like, okay, we can offer you a diet WrestleMania, as in a secondary WrestleMania, but on top of that, we can give you 3 PLEs next year, including the Royal Rumble. And if you combine them together, if they do the fusion dance, they will equal 1 WrestleMania. How does that sound to you? And Saudi probably was like, that's actually a good idea. But no, we need you to run a WrestleMania. We need a real event. And now they're going to get their WrestleMania in 2027, it seems like. So at the end of the day, this is not surprising. I've seen people are upset about this. I personally don't understand why people will be upset about this. Like, if you were a person who was planning to go to WrestleMania next year because you thought it was going to be in New Orleans, and you're like, yo, what happened to us? You took a WrestleMania from us and you worried about people overseas. I can understand why people are upset in that matter. But at the same time, if you look at the prices, if you think that last year prices was bad and this year prices were bad, what do you think the prices are going to look like in 2027? I'm sure a lot of people do not want to go to that WrestleMania if it did happen in the States. They had to go to Saudi to guarantee the ticket sales. So what does that really tell you? You probably don't want to be there, right? And I can see WWE down the line taking advantage of scarcity to make sure they get paid, because like when they take a PLE like a Clash at Paris or whatever over like France or something, they don't get a lot of WWE shows, so they know that they're going to treat it like their WrestleMania. So in their mind, they're probably like, oh, we can charge them whatever we want, because they know they're not getting anything else probably for a whole nother year. And I can see them starting to shift more PLEs overseas and trying to use the scarcity model for people over here in the States. For the people who would normally go to a WrestleMania, if they can't afford WrestleMania no more, we know that they'll pay top dollar to go to a Money in the Bank, to go to a Bad Blood, to go to a Backlash. You see what they're doing with the John Cena tariffs going on right now, to even go to a regular SmackDown and Raw next week in Madison Square Garden, for what I heard. Or is it next week? No, it's not next week. Raw at Madison Square Garden, I heard it's crazy. I heard they going crazy with these prices. But at the end of the day, regardless of how much we all complain, we're all going to be watching WrestleMania 37 or 47, right? 47 on our ESPN apps at the end of the day. So all this complaining, we're going to do it anyway. And that's why I feel like it's outside of the greed for money, you giving them more incentive to be like, they're not serious. We see what they're saying online. We don't care, because they'll complain. They'll go online. They'll watch it. They'll make content. They need it. Blah, 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 blah. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. That's why I'm starting to watch more alternatives like I used to do in the early 2010s when it comes to independent scenes, because, bro, ain't nothing. It actually feels good to pay $15 to go to a wrestling show and see some good wrestling going on. But at the end of the day, what do you think? Do you think this is too much? Do you think it's not fair? Do you think it's not fair to the fans? I would love to hear what you have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute, peace, have a great day.